traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray, feeling good, Lewis. I posted the chart, 4-hour chart of the E-mini S&P over the past 10, 15 days. And as you can see here, when we made the high up here at the 61% retracement there at 40.30 this week, that was a very significant move. And we came all the way down and we made the exact 61% retracement down there at 39.01. The number, I believe, was 38.99. The Dow Jones made it exactly to the 78% level. But what I wanted to point out to you, when you're looking at these Fibonacci numbers, when you have a number like this, and I put this in the video that we sent out last night, is look to sell the 382 retracement if it makes an ABCD at the 382, and it did at 39.54. The high has been 39.55 so far. Now it could get above that. If we close anywhere above this number up here at 40.30, folks, that is extremely bullish because we have all this accumulation down in this area here for those 10 days. And if this is the pullback and we start to move higher, we're going to go a lot higher. So the key today is how the close is going to be, because if we close above that 39.56 level, that's going to be a positive thing. Closing below it would not be so positive. So keep that in mind. Now, what we're going to do now, by the way, our guest today is going to be Norm Winski of Astro Trends, but we also want to look at the NASDAQ also. We'll look at the Dow Jones here first. And here is we'll do one at a time here so we can not get too confused, which is pretty easy when you're trying to do two things at once. Okay, here is the Dow Jones looking at the same thing. You'll see here we had the big ABCD pattern up into this area right here. We came down and we hit the 78% level twice. Now, what I said in the newsletter, this is the weaker of the markets. You can see the 382 pattern here. Okay, we were alerted to that, and then we had the big move down, and what we wanted to do was sell the next 382 retracement just like this one. Well, when we hit 39.54 in the S&P, this was trading at the exact 38% level at 33,336. And we said sell it at 33.30. And so that started to work. It might not work, but now you just put your stop a little bit above even, and you've got it working in your favor. So you're basically in a risk-free trade. You do not want to hold this overnight if it has a loser. So you want to be out of it if that is the case, because these markets, it doesn't take long for them to turn when they turn, and it's really a very, very powerful thing when you have patterns working in your favor. But when they don't work in your favor, that's a sign that you don't want to do that. Now let's take a look at the NASDAQ, because this was the same situation like we had in the NASDAQ. This was while we were on the air the other day, Monday, I believe, and you'll be able to see when we were making this exact to the point, went 2 points above the exact 61% retracement and had a break all the way down into this area right here. So what we were doing now is we were watching the S&P make a 61% retracement. The NASDAQ couldn't quite make that. And you'll see it here, the NASDAQ came down quite a bit, but not even close to a 50% retracement level. So that's telling you that there may be buying coming back into the tech group. And that's certainly a possibility because it's been the weakest. It is no longer the weakest. You see, the S&P came all the way down to the 61% retracement. The Dow Jones came all the way down to the 78% retracement, but this one didn't. So on the way back is what you want to be watching. And so that's what we were watching today. Don't trade it, but we watch it. And the reason why is because it has a really high indication of when major trend changes occur, that it's going to give you a little kick in the pants that you can able to see that, yeah, this may be the time where we're getting something different to happen. So let's just take a look here. I'm going to put the Russell up first because the Russell, and I know why I don't have I just deleted the NASDAQ one, but trust me on this, the NASDAQ made a perfect 61% retracement with an ABCD, and there's the Russell doing the same thing. So there's your game plan, folks. Any move above this tells you it's lights out, you can't stand in front of it, and that's basically, what you're looking at as you're paying attention to these. So that's what it looks like, because it was lined up so perfectly that you just couldn't really take advantage of it unless you were preparing yourself ahead of time. And I wanted to show you one other one right here. This happens to be the update of the E-mini S&P. I just updated it, about an hour ago before the show started. And you'll see that same pattern that we were just highlighting, only it's blown up a little bit, and you'd be able to see it. So that's really what you can see, the perfect ABCD pattern coming in right here at 39.54. The number was 39, the high was 39.55, and last time I saw it was around 39.50 or something like that. I don't remember the exact time to look at it. There's another one that's on our watch list, folks, and that is the natural gas. I know everybody's been watching it and had one heck of a rally today, but again, if you like to follow these 382s, and boy, I certainly do, and you'll take a look here. Look at the NASDAQ today, folks. It rallies $4,000 and stops exactly at the 382. And look at this. It immediately drops $1,800. I mean, this is a wild market. I mean, it follows the ABCD patterns, really beautiful. We're getting close, but I don't think we're quite there yet. And the reason why I say that is we've got some long-term, I've been bringing these up for a long time, but I think it's a possibility for something that may happen. It might not happen, but if it does, it's going to be it's going to be a really big winner. The problem is it's very volatile. The margin on it's not very much, because it'll cover the margin in a matter of a few hours sometimes. But look at this. This is that same ABCD. This measures just a tad below at 302.98, and so far the low has been 310. We made a low last night at 310. That's the third low in a row. We made one at 19, 18, and 10. With the 3 handle. So that might be 3 drives to a bottom, but the fact that it stopped exactly at the 382 was not a good thing. And so we'll see what happens from that level. If it gets above that level, above 340, then it's going to be off to the races. But folks, when this thing runs, it really runs. This is the pork bellies, the old pork bellies like we used to have, which was nothing more than bacon, of course. But anyway, we'll be doing some other stuff with this over the weekend in the newsletter, and I'll be doing a video on it again Sunday night. We're preparing ourselves for what our risk factor is going to be when we watch these things start to unfold, because it's a question of getting the pattern prepared and then saying how much do I have to risk to see if I'm right, and then we'll have a rough idea of how we're going to do it. I want to share with you one of our charts from one of our friends over in the UK that was looking at this today on the NASDAQ. Excuse me, folks, here on the natural gas. And when we get back, I'll continue with this. He's got 2 other charts, but I wanted to show you this one first. This is the chart of the daily of the NASDAQ natural gas. We'll be right back, folks.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kakestat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network at CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the market's open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Okay, folks, I'm going to share with you, before Norm comes on, I want to share with you a couple of entry techniques that I've learned over the years. The first one comes from our friend Alan Smith over in the UK. Alan has been a good friend and student for many years now, but you'll notice that he had a daily forecast down there at 318 in the natural gas. But what he did was he waited for the 382 pullback. And of course, you can see where the ABCD ended here, which was his profit objective, which was well over $1,200. But the high of the day was, of course, the high. You can see it went up and matched the high, and that's when it made the 382 at 3.39. That's the top of that chart right there. So when that thing takes off, it really takes off. Now, it's broken quite a bit, so you have to wait and see what happens on Monday or Sunday night to find another pattern that might line up. So that's pretty much it. Now, here's what I'd like to share with you. This is something that I made my first $1 million doing this, folks, believe it or not, back when I was a little whippersnapper back in the 60s. This was right out of the Hearst book. The concept is called the valid trend line. And I want to get this up here because when I do my next day trading thing, which will be on the 23rd of February, I'm going to be using this just to show you folks how to look at. Here's a valid trend line, folks. You see how it connects? The reason why it's valid is that each of these touches on the point here has to be either at a perfect fib number, 618, 786, 382, whatever it happens to be. It has to be a valid trend line by hitting that, okay? Now, when it breaks that, that moves the trend down. Then you draw another trend line from the high. There's your 382. There's your 382. And when it breaks that line, the trend line starts up. So what do you have now? As you look at this, we give this a name. This is a 1, 3, 5 pattern. And if you look at the ABCD structure on this, it goes all the way up to here. Look where it breaks the trend line. You have a beautiful Gartley pattern here. It breaks the trend line, rallies back to it, and then starts a whole new trend line. This is really simple stuff. Peter Eliades uses it a lot. I haven't used it in a long time, but some people have brought it to my attention, and I started looking at it today, and I saw what Alan did, and I think it's time to resurrect the old valid trend line technique because, by golly, when this thing works, it really does work. And that's the main reason for looking at it, because when the thing works, it's really, really spectacular. So I'm going to be spending some more time with that and doing some teaching on that along with the videos. And then, of course, I will be using it on our day. Remember, the key to this is it has to be a valid trend line. In other words, the trend line, the points on the trend line have to be right at a 618, 786, and a 382, whatever it happens to be. And the more you have, the more lines you have, the more valid the trend line is. So when it breaks it, it tells you that the trend has finally changed. I know it's some people haven't seen me do this before, and the reason why is I haven't used it in a long time. But this past week, I've had 3 or 4 people that have been with me for many years and have read some of the books that I've talked about this in and say, hey, talk about it again. So I started looking at it last night, and Alan picked up it today in the UK, and it's a great place for 2 reasons. One, it's risk control, okay, and you have the mathematics and geometry of why it works. So let's not forget it. It's a very, very important thing, and I think it's something that we should be able to use. Okay, so let's take a look here now. One of the other ones that I wanted to mention to you. We had Mike Moore on yesterday. He had some problems here, but this is the chart that he had. This is, in fact, I've got his name spelled wrong. It's M-O-O-R, so we'll get that corrected. The reason why I put M-O-H-R, that's Lester Moore, the cowboy over in Tombstone, Arizona, there in Boot Hill, and that's where it says on his tombstone, here lies Lester Moore, shot 4 times with a .44, no less, no more. And you should see those tombstones. They're all real, folks. It's a Jewish National Cemetery. If you ever get to Arizona and go to Tombstone, you got to see it, because all these movies come right out of that cemetery. So it's really a legitimate thing. Okay, now I wanted to I've got to put the chart up here. Shut the front door. Be nice to put the chart in here. I'm looking at it, but you don't see it. Here we go. Okay. On the 5th of January, Mike said you should start buying this. Now, he is absolutely right. You can see the pullback that we had here was a 382. Last night we had another 382 retracement. It's up again on the day, so it's still going higher. But the thing that he brought to our attention were the crack spreads. In other words, looking at the difference between gasoline, heating oil, and crude oil. And he said, with a great deal of confidence, and since this is his business, we have to believe him, that these are the triggers that tell you whether there's usage coming into the crude oil market. It's not the crude oil contract. He says it's the gasoline and the heating oil. And he has been absolutely right for 2.5 weeks. So we're going to find out if he can continue that up. But he has a lot of experience doing this. So and he showed me some examples, and it's something to really look at. I have not looked at spreads. I don't even look at the crush spreads in soybeans anymore between oil and meal and stuff. I just basically look at the chart. But as he pointed out, these give an indication that, yes, there's strong demand coming in. And he pointed out that if you'd have flat out bought the crude oil contract there, you would have made 9 handles or $9,000. If you'd have done the heating oil, okay, you would have made $20,000 on the spread. That's how much the difference is. So we've got to pay close attention to what Mike Moore has to say. He's going to be our guest on Monday, so try to not miss that if you get a chance, because he had some really great stuff to look at. The other one that we want to be watching here for a pullback, and we're having one right now, is get this chart up here for the Treasury bonds, and we'll be able to see it here pretty soon. There we go. And there we go. You can see we're right up here making higher bottoms in here. Now, we did make a top up in here, and we're starting to sell off. We got down to a 130 handle again. So we're going to be watching for that secondary 382 pattern in the Treasury bonds too. But that'll be happening over the weekend when I get the videos put out for Sunday night and finish the newsletter. We'll have a rough idea where we should be looking at the Treasury bonds. You can see here this week's low was a perfect 382 off of the low that we made back here on January the 30th. So that came right spot on, just like the crude oil did, folks. That's why you got to watch that 382. It's a blessing in disguise, as they say in the trade. It's going to be something that once you see it, you're going to say, why didn't I see that ahead of time? And I use it all the time now. It's right about 60% of the time. You can only use it in really strong trending markets, but that's what you have to use it at, and that's why you want to be watching it the way you should be watching it. So anyway, let's take a quick look here now. We got the S&Ps down now 10 handles from the high. So if you're in that trade, put your stop at break even and let her rip, because you don't know what's going to happen next, folks. But I got a big secret to share with you right now. Nobody else knows what's going to happen next either, because sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. So you've got to be prepared, and the only way you can prepare yourself is to put a stop in there, because if you don't put a stop in, you're telling Mother Market that, yep, I know more than you do, and we know that is not true. So let's remember that for sure. Okay, we're going to be having a guest next who's very well received here. That's Norm Winski of Astro 10. Stay tuned for the wizard himself from Naples, Florida. We'll be right back with Norm Winski, folks.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, and we're speaking with Norm Winski of Astro Trends. Norm, welcome to the show again. What are you looking at today, buddy?
Hello, Larry. Can you hear me okay?
Coming in 10-4. Copy that.
Very good, sir. Thanks for having me on your show. Thought we'd start out, as always, review what I forecasted the last time I was on your show on the 5th of January. So we had I have that on the screen. If the folks are watching on the video, I recommend taking a screenshot of that, and so you can follow along more easily. We had a full moon the weekend of the 6th, and so we'll be looking at our usual suspects are financials, grains, precious metals. And because the full moon was in the sign of Cancer, we'll be emphasizing silver. Then the morning of the 9th, that was a Monday, we had Jupiter making a 90-degree angle to U.S. Venus. That's where Venus was on the 4th of July, 1776, when the country was founded. Anytime we have something to the U.S. natal chart, that's what that's called. It's U.S. stocks, T-bonds, and U.S. dollar. By the way, the stock market tends to respond potentially to all these points, and because it's the big basket, everything versus commodities are narrow filters. Now we're going down here to Jupiter, lined up with the U.S. Neptune. And again, we have the U.S. chart, U.S. stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. And I'm going to add on oil there because Neptune is involved. And then that was the night of the 9th into the morning of the 10th. AC is after the close, so that's overnight. Then the night of the 11th, we had Jupiter lining up with Saturn for coffee and copper. And then the afternoon of the 12th, almost to the close, we had Mars turning direct. That's the opposite of retrograde. It was in the point. It was in Gemini, the sign for transportation communications, but we don't really have any liquid commodities to go with that except for the stock market. By the way, an interesting thing happened there. The day before that Mars turned direct in Gemini, the sign for transportation communications, we had a global shutdown of the airlines. Remember that?
Yep,
back on the 11th?
Yeah.
I think it was, Larry. The U.S. Airlines were all grounded, and it turns out several other countries have so many problems. They now suspect a hacker hacked into the airline system there and caused all the planes to be grounded. That's transportation. That was right before Mars. Mars was retrograde then and about to turn direct, and that was pretty interesting. Then we have the night of the 17th in the morning, the 18th, Mercury turned direct. It had been going retrograde for 3 weeks. Anytime we have Mercury, we look at the grains, and then because of the Capricorn, we'll be looking at coffee. Here's the charts. We had 2 points for the corn. We have the moon. There's a little short-term high there for the moon on the morning of the 9th. And then we had a really nice top here, and I don't know, these charts were done last night, so don't know what happened today, but it looks like it was forming a pretty nice top there on the morning of the 18th. So far at that point, as of yesterday, the high of the month, and that was Mercury turning direct. Beans did pretty much the same thing, just bigger numbers. The beans made their top, Melo made a short-term top there on the morning of the 9th, and then the bigger top on the morning of the 18th. Here's the wheat. Wheat was kind of going sideways into the moon, so we do nothing. That's a yellow box there for a pass. Green arrow is good. That means you had a chance to make money. And we're going to be hitting a red arrow here in a moment for on the next chart. But anyway, here's in the morning of the 18th for the wheat. Here's coffee. Coffee, as of last night, had just went up. It didn't show a top, but if we had a big drop today in coffee, and I don't know that we did or not, then that might reverse that from a red arrow to a green arrow, because we need to be right within 1 day, and that would be 1 day ahead of a top. We also made a very nice low there on the coffee on the morning of the 12th. That was on the Jupiter-Saturn lineup there on the night of the 11th. We looked to trade on the opening of the next day. Here's crude oil. That was a loser there. That was a miss. And so there we go on the oil. Copper, also a miss. It stopped going up. It just went sideways. So you really didn't have a chance to make any money. Silver made a nice short-term top here on the moon. We were emphasizing silver because of the moon, which is a Cancer thing. You might remember with your friend back there in your early days in the brokerage business. So what was her name, Larry?
Dr. Ruth Miller.
No. Before her, there was some lady trading the silver.
Oh, yeah, Mary Rivers. Yeah, she sure did.
Mary Rivers, right.
That's right, yeah. Right. Yeah, sure did.
There we go. Anyway, I think she was trading on the moon, you told us.
Moon and Scorpio. It was bullish for silver, but it was biased because, the silver has been going up for 6 years, and all you had to do was buy it, hold it 2 days, you made money. I mean, that's basically what it was.
Genius of the bull market, right, Larry?
Yeah, got it. Go ahead, Norm.
Anyway, so there we go. We're making a top there on the full moon in Cancer, the sign for silver, and it had a nice, dropped about 60, 80 cents there. So that's about, let's call it 60, and that's $3,000 on the big contract. Here's the gold. The gold just went sideways from our point, and so you didn't have a chance to make money there, so that's a miss. S&P was excellent. You had a short-term top here on the moon, and then it pulled back into our next point, the night of the 9th, and then that was a really nice pullback low there into 2 points we had right around the morning of the 12th, and late on when Mars turned direct. That was a nice short-term top there for a pullback on the next day, and then we went back up to Mercury direct, and that was even better top. And then we had a nice, well, now I guess that's then the decline we just had started on Mercury direct right there. And here's your T-bonds, also very good. Had 2 points there for the moon and the U.S. there on the morning of the 9th. And then we had another point for the morning of the 10th for the bonds. And then we had a little pullback there. And the dollar, unusual. Usually the currencies perform well, but not this time. The currencies did not act so well. They just dropped a little bit and then went sideways. So we had 2 misses there. So if you add up all the green arrows and all the red arrows, you get 16 winners, 6 misses out of 22 possible signals for 72.73%. Here is why I asked to come on your show today, Larry. We got heap big stuff coming up this weekend. We got a new moon in the sign of Aquarius at perigee. As you know, Larry, that only occurs about every 14 months where you get the perigee and the new moon or full moon, in this case a new moon, lining up with the perigee. Perigee is when the moon is closest to the earth, and we will be rounding up the usual suspects, financial range, precious metals. Because it's in the sign of Aquarius, that indicates look at copper. Then, and Larry, I've also told you that anytime you have a new moon, full moon on top of a planet turning retrograde or direct, that's even bigger deal. And so we got the new moon at perigee on top of Uranus turning direct. So this is really potentially, it could be a huge deal here if we get markets at some extreme. That's, you got to stretch the rubber band to get the good big trades, you know? If it's going sideways, as they say in Jersey, forget about it, right? Forget about it. So anyway, we have the potential here for a change in trend for cattle, copper, and cotton are the big 3. Of course, the stock market too. And then the next weekend after that, the weekend of the 27th, we have a Mercury cycle for your grains. And keep in mind, it's always stock market for everything. And then we have a Jupiter to the U.S. chart. Again, that's stocks, T-bond, and the U.S. dollar. So that's my 4 points.
We got to pay a few bills, Norm.
Featuring
Gotta pay
today.
a few bills.
Okay.
We'll be right back with Norm Winski, folks. Astro Trend.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Okay, we're back, folks, with Norm Winski of Astro Trends, Naples, Florida. Please continue, my friend.
Yes, sir. So I just had finished when we went out to commercial land there. My 4 forecasting points coming up. We got a 2-point, a multiple point thing happening this weekend. And with the, just to recap, we got new moon at Perigee and Uranus turning direct in the sign of Taurus, the bull. And so watch for any market, especially these markets that I mentioned, if they get to some kind of extreme, you know, they're going up, they're going down, a few consecutive days, it would be really great. Look for them to reverse on Monday. Then we have, that's pretty much it. You might want to take a screenshot of that or contact me. I'll send you this, send you my notes for free. Here, I've been doing this a little while now, Larry, almost as long as you. I started trading in college back there at good old Indiana State University. By the way, they're having their annual Naples alumni party here. Too bad you're not here. You might see some of your old friends there from Terre Haute and ISU. They're having their party tonight. I'll be going to that. And anyway, back there in college, and then I made enough money to be able to afford to buy a membership on the CBOE. In 1975, I became a member and market maker there. Did that for 12 years. Also did a stint on the Chicago Board of Trade. And here's my special surprise bonus for this time, Larry. I'm going to talk about fractals. We're going to have a mini fractals class. What is a fractal? Fractal is a branch of theoretical physics, a thing called chaos theory. And you mentioned Mandelbrot in the past, I believe. A fractal is a repeating pattern at different levels of order. An excellent example in nature of that is a pine tree. The branches of the pine tree look like miniature pine trees, and the twigs look like miniature branches, again, and are miniature pine trees. So we take a fraction of something, a small piece of something, extrapolate out what the bigger picture might look like. I do this for 28 markets every year. I use the January price action to tell me what the forecast for the rest of the year is. I actually stumbled on this back in the late 70s, early 80s, reading about what's called the January barometer for the stock market. And I did that for many years, and I decided I would try it out for some other markets. Here, for example, is the inverted forecast. I flipped it upside down. I do it both ways, regular and inverted. For silver, for 2022, I do this in February. As it said, it was published on the first. The blue bars were published the 1st of February of 2022, and you can see that's dancing pretty nicely. And then at the end of the year, I overlay the actual prices, which are the black bars, and you can see it's dancing pretty nicely like Fred and Ginger Rogers. You know, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, and that's a pretty good correlation there. What do you think, Larry?
It does. Looks pretty good. Now, when is this free class?
Was that free class? No, I don't know about that. If you want to contact me, I'll do a little mini class for you, and contact me. I'll tell you how you can get the results. I'm going to be doing the 2023 Fractals here coming up at the end of the, probably in early February.
Okay.
And that will be available then. So here we go. I do. You can call me and I'll explain some of these things. If you have any questions, be happy to entertain them. And all for free. With the double your back, you mentioned Larry, you get your double your back guarantee,
Okay, Norm. Listen, thanks for joining us, my friend. We'll have you on again.
Let me just point out, I recently changed my contact information. I had to flood my house, and so I'm calling you from the Ark now, Larry. And here's my new phone number and my new email. The Skype is the same. And looking forward to helping some of your folks.
Thank you very much, my friend. You always have some great stuff. We'll be watching, and if you're right next time, we'll have you on as a guest. And if you're wrong, we'll have you on as a guest, because I'm wrong a lot, and I'm still a guest. So, listen,
okay.
You take care of yourself down there and stay dry, okay?
Yes, sir. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Thanks a lot.
Okay, Norm, you bet.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, folks. Since we've been on with Mr. Winski, we've had a new high in the S&P. That fib number we were looking at came in at 39.55. We've now had a high at 39.59 so far, and trading at 39.58. What's interesting is the Dow Jones, the one that we went short at 33.33, with a high of 33.36, is still trading 100 points under, 65 points under that level. So that's a perfect example of selling the weakest. If you're going to sell the weakest. If you're going to buy the strongest. That's what you try to do, when you're trading. Now, the NASDAQ has also gone slightly above the 61% retraceable. The Russell has not. So there's a little, as Basil Chapman would say, Basil Chapman would say, it's a bifurcated market. So that's it. Much of the stuff that we are betting for as a continuation to the downtrend comes from the charts that we got from Jeff Hughes and also from Peter Eliades. I'm going to bring those up to you again because it's very important. The statistics behind this are quite strong. This shows you the volatility index making new lows. And this means, look at this downtrend in stocks, folks. Tremendous downtrend in stocks. And this is why, with the VIX index turning up from here after making a yearly bottom, that tells us that there are more people out there that are bullish than bearish. And that's usually the wrong thing to do. But like they say, it's a bifurcated market, so it can do whatever it wants to do. And if it wants to do it, it most probably will. That's the whole key to watching these things. So we've got I think we just made a new high in the S&P just now. So it's starting to break out to the upside. So that's probably a good thing. So we want to pay close attention to that. That's the main thing. It's not the question how much money you make, folks. It's how much money you don't lose, and that's where the real key lies. You've got to be able to, protect yourself on the downside. The fact that the market is up 4 points above the fib point doesn't mean a lot, especially on a Friday, but it is above it, and usually they're accurate within a tick or two. And so you got to pay really, really close attention to those because it's very, very important when you see these markets start to accelerate, especially with just 2 hours to go in the trading day on a Friday. It can go either way, and it usually does. So keep your stops working, and then you won't have to worry about it, and you'll be able to trade again another day. That's the main thing that what you want to be doing. So let's keep our eyes on that. We just popped above 39.62, so it looks like we're getting ready to go a whole lot higher here. So the bearishness that I was expecting is probably not going to happen, but that's the name of the game. We'll have to wait and see. Regarding gold, we have had several questions about the gold. We still believe gold's going to make 1975. That is a long-term weekly chart in gold. That's a 78% level. So let's keep our keep our mind on that one because it's a very, very important one to pay attention to. So those are the things that we're looking at today. We got a break coming up here in just a little bit, and then we want to review what we're going to be looking at over the weekend because we've got the currencies are getting ready to have what we think is going to be a major turn coming in here, and also we should be ready to hit a 382 in the bonds down around this 129 level. Because if it's still bullish and there's a possibility of the 138 level getting hit, then you got to be able to say, yes, we could possibly do that. So let's stay tuned. 877-927-6648. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Okay, we're back, folks. I posted a chart of the S&P. As you know, we were looking for a high at 39.54. It had 39.65. It's been the high, but we were selling the Dow Jones E-mini, and that was at 33,330, and we're now trading at 33,000 even, so it's still 30 points into the good. It's not made a new high on the day. Oh, there's no way I can change this because the phone is being charged and I can't do too much about it. It's my daughter calling, but she's just checking to check and see how the old man is doing. Anyway, I'm sorry for that, but there's not much else we can do about it. So if you're still in the Dow Jones trade, your stop has to be 100 points. Remember, folks, we took 110 handles out of the S&P, folks, from 40.28 to 39.07, and that was a really good trade this week. We had a very good week, but this last trade is still working, but make sure you have your stop in on that Dow Jones at least at 33,436. So that's where your buy stop would be. Right now it's still about 40 points below it, but it's still a little bit early in the day with 2 hours yet left to go. The other thing is, keep in mind that we still think we're going to hit 25.03 in the silver, in the March silver. We still think we got a pretty good shot at that. And the $64 question is whether that 437 is going to hold a 61% retracement in the copper. That's going to be a very interesting one to keep an eye on, because it's it's very, very volatile over there, swinging $2,000 and $3,000 a day now. Used to be rather quiet, but not anymore. So those are the things we're looking at here today. So live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless. And try to do something nice for your neighbors, especially if you see veterans that need help, folks. And we'll see you on the flip side tomorrow. Have a wonderful weekend.